I am the lead coach for the lab program, and I'm going to walk. Great, thanks. All right, I'm going to walk you briefly through what you can expect should you decide to apply to the program, and I sincerely hope that you will. And then I'll answer some of the excellent questions that people have submitted. And any others. If any other questions occur to you during the course of this session, we will certainly be happy to answer them. And we should be done in an hour and perhaps less. So if you decide to apply to join the lab program, what can you expect? First of all, completing the application. The application is on the NPN website. It is not complicated. It's pretty straightforward. You will be asked in the application to describe an important challenge or opportunity facing your organization. We are not looking for something new. We are looking for something that you are currently dealing with, that you're facing right now. And we've identified several criteria, and I think those are pretty straightforward as well, not terribly complicated. They are attached to the application. I would just ask that you consider them carefully when you're describing your challenge. When we review applications, we'll be looking to see how they comport with the challenge criteria. And again, they are not complicated. And if you have any questions in the course of completing the application, you are welcome to contact me. I'd be happy to answer them. So applications for LAP are due on August the 10th. We have asked you for 2 letters of support to accompany your application, one from your board chair and another from a professional colleague, a professional peer who you've worked with over time. The application is due on the 10th of August. The letters can be submitted somewhat afterwards. We know that it's sometimes difficult to get people to submit letters to you so you can submit them to us, but the applications are due on August 10th. We must have the letters by September 10th. Successful applicants will be notified by September 12th, as well as those who we might not be able to accept this round, but we would certainly hope might consider applying in a future round. I will conduct brief phone interviews after the September 12th date. And just to get a sense of who people are, where they are, making sure we can get access to their website so we can understand their organizations better. So if you're accepted into the program, the first thing that will happen is you will be assigned a skilled executive coach. And I just want to mention, sorry, somebody else. All right, let me just say that there are 3 coaches who are now on this call. Hafsa Syed, will you raise your hand, Hafsa? There she is. And Dora Wang and Sarapi Walser as well. Sarapi and Dora were both coaches in the last round and did a wonderful job, as I think their people that they coach would attest. I will also obviously be a coach. So you will have an executive coach. They will ask insightful questions. They will offer good suggestions where relevant. They will bring resources to you that you might not otherwise have access to. They will consult with the rest of the coaching team. There's an enormous amount of experience and wisdom and skill on the coaching team as a whole. So in addition to having an executive coach, you will be a member of the LAP peer group, and the LAP peer group will consist of the up to 7 successful applicants to the program. It's difficult for me to overstate the value that these 2 resources will bring to you. Your coach has no other agenda than to see you be successful at whatever the challenges you set forth for yourself. You know, they will ask great questions. I think one of the greatest compliments to an executive coach is he or she asks great questions. The peer group, again, will consist of the other successful applicants to the program. They will meet 5 times over the course of the program. They will ask questions. All members of the peer group will track their progress and discuss their progress. They'll bring wisdom. In a lot of cases, the peer group members have faced some of the challenges that you face, and they may have found some creative solutions or ways to address them. So I can't overstate the value of the peer group. And let me take a step back for a second and introduce Chien-Chi Huang, who's sitting here over to the left. Chien-Chi was a member of the first LAP program. Her circumstances were a bit unusual in that she left her position during the course of the program. But it was very interesting that the rest of the peer sorry, somebody's not muted here. She left her position in the course of the program, but the wisdom and experience and resources that she brought to her team members caused the rest of the peer group to ask that she continue, even though she was leaving her position. And I can say she brought tremendous resources and wisdom, I think is not unfair to say. So Chien-Chi, she is recovering from a bad fall. And so I'm just going to ask her if she would say a few words, and then she is very welcome to step off if she wants to.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the meeting to talk about the nonprofit net ED group. So I have the good fortune to participate in the inaugural cohort, and I have to say that the experience was really tremendous. And like Margo said, that you will not only have the peer support, but you will have your own personal coach. And it just so happened that Margo is mine. And I have to tell you that, you know, during this time, it is a, I'm going through a really very difficult transition, both professionally and personally. And Margo and the group have been there for me, and I really appreciate that. And I think one thing that you can think of it is that, you know, being the leader of your organization, you know, your well-being is really important to the whole organization. And, you know, but then as the leader of the group, you may not have the support system in place at your own organization. Some of the things that, you know, you really need to have an outside group to have a more objective eye or to, you know, to give you a different perspective. Because I remember one thing that we talk about, which I participate in the group, we got this book called Leadership on the Line. And one thing that we learned that's important is that sometimes you have to be able to get on the balcony to look down. You know, you can't just, you know, stay downstairs on the dance floor and you know, because you will miss a lot of things if you don't have a bird eye view of the whole situation. So again, you know, I can't say more about how valuable this group is to me, and particularly my personal group. I wanted to say thank you and express my appreciation to Margo particularly and Dora for starting this group. And I think that you guys are in good hands, and it will not only benefit you personally, and you will also help your organization. And I'll be happy to answer any question you have if you want me to. Yeah.
Chien-Chi, I know you're very uncomfortable, so let me let you dismiss you with gratitude, and thanks for being here, and please feel better.
So I leave my contact information in the chat box, so I welcome you all to connect with me through LinkedIn, and I can also leave my email address. So currently I'm not in Massachusetts anymore, but I still have a lot of network and experience, particularly in community engagement and also events and nonprofit fundraising stuff. So if I can be helpful in any way, please feel free to connect with me. Yeah. And my focus is in the Asian community. So Julian, I hope that we can connect offline. And yeah, okay, cool.
Great. Thanks a million. Thanks so much.
Feel better.
I should say that the other members of the peer group, last peer group, wanted to be on this call. They all had unavoidable conflicts, but they all offered to be helpful in any way. So if people want to, I'll mention briefly in a few minutes what their challenges were, and if anybody wants to connect with any of them, they would be very happy to chat with you. So thank you to Chien-Chi. And I should say the members of the peer group very often communicate electronically. We will have a dedicated Slack channel for the lab peer group and for the coaches. So I guess, so my question is, why would you want to apply? I really can't imagine why you wouldn't want to apply. I mean, the attention, help, and support of an executive coach, a peer group of colleagues from across the nonprofit sector, who, as I mentioned, in many cases, they have tackled and sometimes resolved some of the challenges that you may be facing. And then finally, some LAP will bring specific tools and resources that will help you to think differently about your work and get better results. That is the hope, and that is certainly the plan. And I think the participants last time would attest that that is what occurred. So I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to be part of it. And just a final word before I jump to your questions. You know, why a performance challenge? The LAP program is modeled after a program called Achieving Excellence at Harvard's Kennedy School, where I was the lead coach. And the fundamental premise of both LAP and the Achieving Excellence program is that meaningful change and strengthening leadership occurs in the context of doing real work. I mean, we've all taken leadership classes. Certainly there are webinars and seminars that can be extremely valuable at various points in time. LAP is a bit of a deeper dive. The challenge with leadership classes and seminars is that, you know, when you get back to your desk, you've got the same problems, you've got the same staff, you've got the same board. It's easy to forget some of the lessons. Some of them can feel hard to implement. Some of them just go the way of New Year's resolutions. The entire focus of our work with you will be working on your performance challenge. So we will be working together and working to the specific outcomes that you set for yourself. So the LAP program is designed to strengthen your leadership, to strengthen your confidence, and to achieve real outcomes. So let me jump to the questions, and if there are others that have occurred to you, we will answer them during the course of the session. So I'm curious about the kind of project the last cohort did and what kind of projects are expected for the new cohort. So let me say quickly, 4 out of 5 of the last challenges had something to do with growth. First one, Jonathan Goldman, renovate my board. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is Joan. Renovate my board, get term limits adopted, create new bylaws. This is so the organization could expand and could grow. Secondly, Jonathan Goldman, initiate and lead an inclusive strategic plan, strategies to engage all stakeholders and to pick new sites for their services. The third, expand our services to new communities, add and train new volunteer guides. Fourth, scale our operations without losing our individualized approach to empowerment, attract new partners, reorganize staffing. And finally, Chien-Chi, who basically her challenge became managing a difficult transition. So those are the kinds of challenges that the last cohort proposed. They really are kind of broad. I can't imagine there are too many challenges that any of you are facing that wouldn't lend themselves to the resources that LAB presents. But again, I'm happy to talk with any of you if you have questions about this. Feel free to contact me. So the second question, a staff member who is very reliable and has been with our agency for 17 years, does her job, but just that and nothing more. She's not a team player, does not handle constructive criticism, would question on anything she may have done wrong, forgot to do. Response is, you're picking on me. The inability to coach her, very frustrating. So, I mean, this is a very particular question, but I think an awful lot of executive directors who have staff have challenges with staff. I mean, so if I were your coach, if I were the coach of this potential participant. First, I want to understand a little bit more of the history of the situation. I want to share some helpful articles about difficult conversations with staff that can really achieve results. I want to share some case studies. I wrote some case studies about difficult staff when I was at the Kennedy School. And I would be, and what happened, how those situations were handled. And obviously I'd be happy to share those. And maybe do some role playing and scenario planning. So it would really depend. It's sort of knowing a little bit more about the situation, about the manager in question, about the staff member in question would obviously help the situation. So we can't resolve it here, but I think it's something that certainly can be tackled in the course of lab. So what are some examples of projects that we best fit for this program? Again, when you look at the criteria are pretty, they're kind of general, but they also give you an idea of, how you shape a challenge that will really likely see some real progress during the course of a 9-month program. Again, we're not looking for something new. So it's something that's important to you and to your organization, that your leadership will be important to achieve, that other people care about this, not just you, so other people will need to contribute. Something that's aggressive perhaps, but also achievable. And that may require you to step out of your comfort zone, that maybe the way you've been doing things all along hasn't necessarily worked for you, and your coach can maybe help you figure out some new approaches that might be more successful. So that's what I can offer, something that also where significant progress can be seen in the 9-month period. It doesn't mean you achieve the entire challenge, but it means you feel like there's the end is in sight. So I see Dr. Sandra has a question. Yes?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute. Thank you. I had a brief communication with Dora around this issue, and I'm not really sure that we will qualify for this program. We're new, we're only just over 2 years old. I'm building our board back because the 2 board members that I have, their term is up. They're still doing things, but not much at all. Okay. I cannot get you the board chair's recommendation because I am the board chair.
Oh, you're the one.
And CEO. Okay. So it's just been a struggle trying to find qualified board members to come on board. So, right now I'm wearing all the hats myself. So there's not going to be any contribution unless I get somebody in the next couple of months. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, Sandy, I was going to get to your question because you did submit that question. So just give me a minute and we will get to it. And so we talked about the projects that have been done in the past. I want to learn more about this program and how I can use it to help me be a better leader for my organization. And I think hopefully some of my earlier comments have convinced you that is one of the goals of the program. Okay, and this is I guess Dr. Sandy's question. Part of the application requirement is to submit letters to the chair of the board. I function in the role of the chair of the board, president, and executive director. Could I submit a letter from one of the board members instead? Is that right, Sandy? That's you, right? So first of all, I really feel for you. I mean, this is not a situation that any executive director necessarily wants to. So to answer your specific question, yes, a letter from a board member will fulfill that requirement. So don't not apply because of that requirement. But I think all of the situations you find yourself in are things that an executive coach and a peer group can be really helpful with. So to say that you don't qualify because you can't submit a letter from the board chair is not an issue. So don't give any more thought to that. So the next question, what type of projects are appropriate? My top needs are board development, fundraising, and succession planning. Every one of those appeared in the last round, and I think they were addressed pretty successfully. What will the total time commitment be? I guess what I would say here is, again, just reiterating, we're not looking for something new. We're not looking for you to invent something for the lab program. We're looking for you to bring something to the program that you're already working on, that perhaps you don't have all the answers for, that you haven't identified all the resources you need. So we assume you would be spending a fair amount of time on this challenge, whether you win the program or not. Our goal is to bring you some new tools, some new approaches, some new ideas, some creativity, some wisdom from the coaches and your peers that maybe things you haven't had access to until this point. So I would simply say, there'll be regular calls with your coach, regular meetings with a peer group. I think that it's impossible not to benefit from that kind of attention and collaboration. So here's somebody who, how will the program help my 2.5-year-old organization grow? And please be specific. And when I read this question, I said, almost all the organizations last time, and certainly all the organizations that I worked with at the Kennedy School had growth, some kind of growth as a goal. Sometimes it was growth in funding. Sometimes it was growth in geography. Sometimes it was growth in programs. One of the candidates last time, Danielle, who I coached, she had a very one-on-one kind of attention model, and she wanted to know, how do we grow and not lose the value of the approach we are using now? So I guess 600 folks have participated in the Achieving Excellence program. Only 5 folks have participated in the lab program, but very specific growth assistance has been provided in many, many, many of those cases. And again, it really depends on what kind of growth you're seeking. What kind of projects would the program be looking for? Again, I really hope that you have a sense that almost any challenge you're facing will benefit from the resources that the program brings. Look closely at the criteria, think about how they apply to whatever it is that you're working on. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to let me know. It's got to be something important. It's got to be something important to you and to your organization and to your constituents, if that's the case. But other than that, I think what's important is to think about what's ahead of you, see how it fits into the criteria or how we can help make it fit into the criteria, and consider applying. And the last question, how can we get Elon Musk to give us some of his money? That is above my pay grade. I would turn that over to the group. If anyone has a brilliant idea, I'm sure your colleagues on this call would be thrilled to hear about it. So that's those are the questions that we received. Are there other questions that might have occurred to you, Etka?
I was just wondering I think I went through the website a little bit to understand more about the program. The criteria to qualify for this program is that you have to have a budget of $300,000 a year. Is there a budget? Okay, good. I desperately apply.
There is no budget requirement. You must be a nonprofit. That is the only requirement. You must be a nonprofit. I mean, the only real, sort of regimented requirement. But no, there's no budget requirement.
Okay,
no.
So I'm glad.
We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
Padma, is that you with your hand raised?
Yes, Padmaja. Thank you for the session. I joined a little late, but I think I got the drift of what you were talking about. Mine is not a nonprofit. I'm a B Corp. Is that something that a structure that you work with?
We have not. We have worked with nonprofits. Nonprofit Net, obviously, is the name of the organization sponsoring this, and our goal is to work with small and moderate-sized nonprofits. So, being a nonprofit is essentially probably the only essential requirement.
So, would there be any consideration of a B Corp at all?
I think we would need to talk internally about that. It's not a question that we've encountered. I won't pretend to try to answer it on my own right now. But Padmaja, we will get back to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, because not many people are open to working with B Corp, and that's really sad, because I purposely chose not to be a C Corp, and I purposely chose not to be a nonprofit. Both because of inherent challenges in both of these structures. So B Corp seemed like a good balance, and it is still the primary mission is social impact. So that's why I'm curious about the opportunity to work.
No, it's a good question, and you are in an unusual situation, and undoubtedly you would bring a lot to the program. Certainly, B corporations have a lot to offer in the nonprofit sector as well. So we will have an internal conversation and get back to you shortly.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Dora, are there any questions in the chat that we didn't get to?
No, I don't see, there hasn't been a lot of,
Julian?
Julianne.
Hi, so related to another question about budget or I guess scale, I'm also working with this very small indie type nonprofit, as in we just started doing things about 3 years ago and became officially nonprofit about 1.5 years ago. So the scale is very small, and we're like in the very, very startup stages. So we're very newbie to all this, all the nonprofit world things to deal with. But is that, so, some of the problems that last year's participants were facing, like growing the board or managing certain transitions and stuff, I think are like those are like in our future, but right now we're just starting up our lives. For context, I run this orchestra in Boston, and so we're very it's an arts nonprofit, and we're very new to the whole thing. But even if we're like so young, are we still the target audience for this program? That's the question.
Sure, absolutely. And in fact, I would say that you could probably benefit tremendously, because there is a lot of wisdom out there, and there may be some things that you will gain from this that will save you some time and energy in terms of getting some things done that might otherwise be all absorbing. And when you're new, you got a lot to learn, but you've also got a lot to offer. I mean, sometimes in the Kennedy School program, one of the things we discovered is some of the participants said, well, you should segment people by size of organization. And I always felt and we didn't do that. And we didn't do it because the richness of the conversations, when you had smaller, newer, nimble organizations and other somewhat larger organizations, the richness of the conversation was much more significant. So yeah, no, that wouldn't disqualify you at all.
Cool, thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions that we can answer for anything? Sharon?
My question is, you're saying to like pick one thing to focus on. How do I pick? I have like 4 or 5. And in my opinion, I think they're all equal of importance. So how do I pick?
Well, you know what? I don't believe you. I mean, I don't think you can have 5 A1 priorities. I mean, I am sure that there's probably, and there may be one, Sharon, that lends itself better to the criteria. It's got to be important to you. Your leadership has to be really important. It can't be something that you delegate to someone else. But if it's really important to you, I mean, it may be worth a conversation between you and me. And you can tell me the snapshot of the 5, and we can just talk about which one might, what resources that we could bring to you might most benefit which of those challenges. And I'm happy to have that conversation.
Okay, all right. You want me to tell you what they are now?
No, you don't tell me that. No.
Okay.
This call, we will set up I'll send you a quick email. We'll set up a Zoom call, just a one-on-one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you.
And anybody else who wants to have a conversation that goes beyond this larger meeting, please don't hesitate to let me know. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other comments? Any other thoughts? Hafsa, Adora, those two wonderful coaches here. Any thoughts or comments that you want to offer?
No, I would say it's like if I know Elizabeth's been watching intently, and I just encourage you to ask your question or tell us a little bit about the organization you're representing, if you're able to.
Hello, sure thing. Thank you. I didn't realize that this was primarily for directors. And so I joined on behalf of the nonprofit I work for, but I'm also an entrepreneur and I'm building a nonprofit. And so I feel like it might be something I contemplate. I'm not sure if I am prepared for this program in this coming cohort, but it's something I definitely want to keep in mind. And if I can get prepared, I definitely will apply. I also can still bring it forward to our executive team if there's somebody who would like to represent the company I currently work for. I'm in development operations here at Children's Services of Roxbury. And I really enjoy that role. As an entrepreneur, I am building a research and development firm in the nonprofit space.
Good for you.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah, please
Thank you.
tell your leadership and also any other, I usually find that for people who are in the nonprofit world, whether it's volunteer or working, or that you're involved with probably more than one, or your friends and acquaintances or colleagues that are involved. So please help us spread the word and tell them about our program, because it's a very unique, innovative program that I think delivers a lot of really great results and really helps organizations where they need it the most. I've been so impressed with just seeing the benefits to organizations and to the leaders. So that'd be great. Anyone else is, I think that's.
Dora, can I make a comment, please?
Oh, of course.
I just wanted to say, everybody who's attending this, when you think of LAP, and think about LAP in a way that it is going to not solve all your problems, but a lot of times as leaders, we require anchor for ourselves. You know, if you think of a Fortune 500 company CEO, and if you compare their challenges at the core to yours as EDs, they're the same. That's the hard thing about a solitary role like leadership. And what really Margo and NPN have been able to do, and I was very particularly attracted to this, is the fact that they're out there to help. And that help is unconditional. It's really hard to come by a group of dedicated individuals as the ones who are the board of NPN, who feel very deeply, are giving philanthropy a totally different name. It is a remarkable thing. It is worth a look, and definitely something you should consider as an option for your own personal growth, your own corporate growth, your nonprofit's growth. And we all need to stop feeling less alone. I think LAP coaches will help you, and the peer group will help you to feel less lonely.
Thank you, Dora and Hafsa, and Julian, you had a question, it looked like.
Yeah, if we have, so the application's due August 10th, but if we have ideas about projects but want to like run it by someone, is there someone we should like reach out to?
Say it again, if you projects, say again.
Oh, sorry. If there's, if I have ideas about what projects, would be good to focus on or what challenges would be good to tackle, but, would there be someone good to reach out to and ask for like feedback or something before the application is due?
That would be me.
Thanks.
That would be me. Yeah, so don't hesitate. I'm happy to talk on the phone. I'm happy to, whatever. But, yeah, and that's a fine idea. I mean, you can't focus on everything, and not every challenge is, well, I don't know. I have not found a challenge yet that doesn't lend itself to using the resources appropriately that we will bring to you. So I think look at the criteria and think about what's really important to you. If I could make progress on this particular thing, sometimes that will solve some of the challenges that you're facing in other areas as well. So just think strategically, and then you and I can talk. And I can we can just sort of shape what outcomes might we be looking for in the course of the program.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, so don't hesitate to reach out, anybody. Truly, I giving you some help before the fact might save you some time after the fact. So
I was going to say, if Caroline or Eunice, we haven't heard from either one.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I am the Director of Finance and Accounting for a nonprofit called Nucleate. We're based in Boston, but we have chapters pretty much all over the world at this point. My problems center around the fact that I do not have a background in finance or accounting. I've just been volunteering for this organization and was recently hired about a year ago. So our nonprofit is a biotech incubator, and we don't take any equity in the companies that we create. And yeah, I'm looking forward to applying to this program.
I think if you have no background and yet they hired you, I would suspect that you've been able to fool people or you've acquired some background in the course of your volunteer work.
Hopefully
That's
both.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to keep people any longer. I said an hour or less. We are now at less, unless there are any other questions. Yeah, Dr. Sandy.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Could you please offer us your email so we can connect with you?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, everybody can go back to air conditioning or go outside and get warm or perhaps have a late lunch. Thank you all. It was really nice to meet you all, and we look forward certainly to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for your
Take
time,
care.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye.